Hello and welcome to our final episode of Vibe Touring with MCP for the year 2025. For this episode, we're going to be doing sort of a year in review, sort of wrapped video, similar to what you might have seen on Spotify or YouTube, something like that. But what we're doing today is we're going to take a look back into CData's year in AI. This was a huge year for us in terms of our foray into the AI space. We'll touch on all of the awesome contributions and releases that we were able to put out this year. But before getting into that, as always, I'm Stan. I'm your host along with my colleague here, Cam. And we are so excited that you joined us here for the final episode of 2025. Really, the message that we want to leave you all with this year is that AI success requires AI-ready data. It's not just about your AI models. And so what you'll hopefully see as we get into not only a timeline of releases of 2025, some really awesome metrics and key adoption statistics that we saw over the course of the year, as well as some partnership announcements and some research that we wanted to provide some insights into for you all. But the Evolution 2025 showed that access to real-time governed data is really going to be the key differentiator for enterprise AI. And this is only going to accelerate in 2026. But with that, let's take a look into our year in review. Cam, what do you got for us in terms of the 2025 timeline when it comes to CData's year in AI?
Yeah, thank you so much, Stan. And hello, everybody. Let's jump right into it. Let's first take a look at our timeline, and we'll start with our early foundations for CData in AI, which started in Q2 on May 1st when we released our downloadable MCP server. So Anthropic released the Model Context Protocol late 2024, and it was a clear signal that AI was moving beyond static prompts and toward real tool-driven interaction with live business systems. And at CData, that really resonated with us. As a data connectivity company, we knew that MCP was essentially formalizing something that we'd been thinking about for a long time: conversational analytics, or agentic analytics, where AI doesn't just talk about the data, but AI tools and LLMs can safely interact with that data and take action with that data. So before Connect AI was even a thing, 2025 really started for us, like I said, on May 1st with our downloadable MCP servers. At that point, we didn't have a platform per se. It was us putting the building blocks into the world and saying, let's see how people use this technology, built on top of our 350 plus data sources. We released those MCP servers for popular sources like Excel, SAP, QuickBooks and QuickBooks Online, Shopify, Google Drive, Google Sheets. And in the first 2 to 3 months alone, we saw over 3,000 MCP downloads overall. And what mattered more than just the number of how many downloads we had, what mattered was how people were using those MCP servers. We wanted to watch real usage patterns, what tools were getting called, where people hit friction, what they expected to just work when they got it out of the box. And that feedback that we got, those learnings that we took in, they shaped what later became Connect AI. And so many of the decisions and much of the feedback that we got, you'll see later trace back to what we learned from those early MCP adopters. So this was the foundation of our year. And this MCP server launch wasn't just a launch. It was the proving ground for everything that came next for CData. And I'll pass it back to you, Stan, to talk about what did come next for CData in terms of Connect AI.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks so much, Cam. Thanks for laying that foundation. Just for the viewers out there, I think one of the cool things that Cam and I were able to do, it was to be very close and when it comes to how we were strategizing about our foray into MCP here at CData. And so we did a lot of research into the MCP market, and when it came to our downloadable MCP launch, that helped inform our launch strategy there. But what we saw out in the market was that remote MCP was gaining a lot of traction. And so CData, we knew that we wanted to release a hosted MCP solution as well. And so that really happened on September 24th when we did our official Connect AI release. And this happened during our big annual event, Foundations, where we launched the first managed MCP platform. And what we saw was that it gained rapid adoption from our user base, from the audience. There was a ton of demand for a managed MCP platform that could provide connectivity into the breadth of data sources that Cam has mentioned earlier. And so we'll get into some of those awesome usage metrics and statistics here in a second. But yeah, as Cam mentioned, I think that being really early when it came to releasing those MCPs, those downloadable MCP servers, gave us a lot of insights and learnings that we were able to build into the Connect AI managed MCP platform. But we didn't stop there, right, Cam? Q4 came with a lot more exciting announcements. What were some of the highlights from Q4?
Thanks, Dan. After the Connect AI launch, much of the progress in 2025 came from these incremental releases, no flashy headlines, but meaningful improvements. So we continued learning, we continued taking feedback, and we came out with these minor adjustments to make Connect AI a better MCP managed platform. So these are a few that we want to highlight. The first one are connection errors, return connection URLs. So what that means is if you have an issue with your Salesforce connection and an error comes up, that error now returns a URL that you can just click, and all of a sudden your Connect AI dashboard is opened up where you can troubleshoot that error quickly. This immediately makes troubleshooting faster, and IT teams love to see this. The next one, which is my favorite, these data source specific instructions to improve MCP efficiency. So what does that mean? It means a new tool for these LLMs to use called Get Instructions, where, for example, say you have a Salesforce connection that your MCP server is connected to. Now these LLMs can call the Get Instructions tool for that Salesforce data source through Connect AI. And Connect AI will return context to the LLM for Salesforce. It gets common use cases for Salesforce. It gets metadata information. It gets relationships between different tables from Salesforce. And overall, this reduces tool usage by roughly 50%, which dramatically improves performance. Because now these LLMs and AI tools don't have to spend a bunch of time spinning and gathering context. They have it all. They have relationships mapped. They know common use cases. They know the most common tables that are going to be called. So for example, again, in Salesforce, it knows that the account table, the opportunities table, the context table, those are the most common tables. So it knows that already going into it. And then the last one that we want to highlight is those major ecosystem partnerships, which I'll pass it back to you, Stan, where you can hit on these major players that jumped on Connect AI.
Yeah, thanks so much, Cam. I think in addition to some of those awesome incremental improvements that we've been making to Connect AI throughout Q4, probably the other most exciting announcements from Q4 were these ecosystem partnerships. And we were really able to secure these collaborations, these relationships and partnerships with some of the biggest players in the AI space at the moment. And so that started out with our Databricks partnership, which was announced November 6th. And as part of that announcement, we were named a Databricks AgentBricks launch partner. And so that means that Connect AI is featured in the Databricks marketplace, and it embeds Connect AI into Databricks workflows, enabling enterprises to build and deploy AI agents with governed, auditable access to business data directly from within Databricks systems and beyond. We followed up the Databricks partnership announcement with the Microsoft partnership announcement, not even 2 weeks later, announced November 18th. And that collaboration with Microsoft announced to the world the ability to integrate Connect AI capabilities with Microsoft AI agents and Copilot offerings. And so this partnership positioned Connect AI as a native connectivity layer for Microsoft's AI ecosystem. So that allows enterprise-grade real-time data access across over 350 systems into Microsoft Copilot's environments. And as always, maintaining that governance and security that's ever important. We didn't stop just with Microsoft. We followed that up again. Under a month later, December 9th, we announced our partnership with Anthropic, where Anthropic certified CData Connect AI as or within the Claude Connector directory. And so what that enables is Claude, all of Claude, the latest Claude models, including Opus 4.5 and Claude Code, to access live enterprise data securely through Connect AI. So this expands Connect AI's ecosystem reach by making it a trusted, again, governed data layer for Claude-based workflows as well, which only helps enterprises connect Claude to, again, that entire portfolio of 350 plus systems without having to create custom connectors and maintaining governance and permissions models. So yeah, some really exciting partnerships that we were able to announce in Q4 of this year. And so really just solidifying, cementing CData's place as that trusted connectivity partner, that connectivity layer that so many of the most major players in the AI ecosystem are leveraging. So let's get into some of these metrics behind that really helped us build our case when it came to developing these partnerships with these major players. Cam, what are some of the highlights for when it comes to how folks are using Connect AI? Some of the data points that you want to highlight for our audience today.
Thanks, Dan. Let's take a look at these usage metrics. We'll start with overall query volume for 2025. So this is where we see the scale of Connect AI usage, where it really shows up. So over the course of the year, Connect AI executed just over 191 million tool calls, with more than 78 million of those being full AI queries. And those weren't just lightweight requests. In 2025 alone, Connect AI moved roughly 850 billion rows of data. So that gives you a sense of how this is being used in practice. This isn't just used in demo environments. These are real high volume workloads being run through Connect AI with those partnership tools like Copilot Studio, Claude and Claude Code, or Agentbricks and Databricks. That's where we really see the large amount of query volume being run through Connect AI. So the next stat we're going to take a look at is the top data sources. So when we look at this large amount of data being run, what are the data sources that people are actually using? And these are a few that stood out. These are our top 5. NetSuite led the way with just over 13.6 million queries run. Bullhorn CRM followed with over 11 million queries run. SQL Server databases came in with 9.6 million queries. MongoDB, another database, had handled 6.3 million just about. And then QuickBooks Online had 4.6 million. And to round it out, Snowflake rounded out with just over 4.5 million queries run. So what's interesting here to me is the mix of data sources. It's not one vertical using Connect AI. We have ERPs, CRMs, databases, cloud warehouses, and these are just the top 6 sources. So Connect AI isn't just concentrated in one category or one vertical. It's being used across entire data stacks. So those are the top data sources for Connect AI. And I think this last statistic is my favorite. Connect AI 2025 outages. So if you're on an IT team, if you're a stakeholder and you're worried about Connect AI outages, don't be. In 2025, we had 0 Connect AI outages across all of this usage. So millions of queries, hundreds of billions of rows of data, no outages. So at this scale, this isn't just a footnote. It's foundational for your AI success. I'll pass it back to you now, Stan, where we can take a look at the state of AI data connectivity report that you spoke about earlier.
Awesome. Yeah, let's do it. Thanks so much, Cam. Really think it's awesome that to be able to share, sort of peel back the layers and share some of the awesome ways that our customers at CData are using our products. So hopefully that was interesting for you as well as the audience. But yeah, let's get into our last segment for today. One of our biggest initiatives on the marketing side of things here this year at CData was doing some research into the state of AI data connectivity in the world today. So not only is it a sort of temperature check on the current state of things, but it also, hopefully provides some insight into maybe what the outlook for 2026 will be. And so as part of this report, which was launched December 3rd, our team surveyed over 200 AI and data leaders. And one of the things that we found is that AI ROI, in general, it's not constrained by models, as we've said before. It's constrained by data access and context. So again, all of everything that we've talked about today, from the timeline of our releases to the partnerships and metrics that Cam just went over, it's all in service to emphasizing that message that AI ready data is really that key to AI success. And so a few of the really cool metrics to highlight that we gained or that we gathered from this report and the research that we did. Only 6% of those 200 plus AI and data leaders that we surveyed say that their data infrastructure is fully ready for AI. So the AI readiness gap, again, it's not about model access. It's about the data, context, and control needed to actually run AI in production. 71% of those AI and data leaders said that they spend or their teams spend over a quarter of AI implementation time on data integration. So when your engineering time is going towards building out your connectors and pipelines, it's not going to actually innovating with your AI products or actually contributing to meaningful AI outcomes. So that's definitely some overhead that it's worth taking into consideration when you're considering how you really want to go about your AI implementation. What we're also seeing is that integration complexity is exploding. Multi-source connectivity and integrations is essentially a default requirement at this point. 46% of software providers say that they need real-time access to over 6 sources for a single AI use case. So that means that each AI use case becomes an entire architecture problem in and of itself. More systems creates more failure points and more context fragmentation. So, undertaking and building out the data connectivity for your AI implementation systems, it's not going to be a trivial sort of ask or just a one-to-one integration that you can have a developer build out easily. This is a real sort of burden that needs to be overcome, and these bridges need to be built in order for you to actually be able to leverage AI effectively in production. Penultimately, we are finding that real-time connectivity is universally critical, and it's something that's still missing. There's definitely a gap there in the market when it comes to the ability for teams to provide their AI systems with real-time data, with access to real-time data. So 100% of enterprises agree that real-time data is absolutely essential for AI agents. And we all agree that AI agents can't act reliably on stale context. So again, the effectiveness of your real-time integrations will decide who scales agents versus who ends up stalling out. And then finally, we are starting to see a maturity divide form. So what that means is that data infrastructure maturity is a predictor of AI maturity and AI success. So from a numbers standpoint, what we saw is that 60% of the highest AI maturity companies have the advanced data infrastructure to go along with it. On the flip side of that coin, 53% of lower AI maturity organizations say that they are hampered by immature data systems. So, to sum that up, AI maturity, it follows integration maturity. If you want ROI on your AI investments, make sure you're investing where the correlation is strongest when it comes to data infrastructure. So yeah, that kind of sums up some of the highlights from the State of AI Data Connectivity report. Really, that was just an appetizer. There's so much more in the report. So we highly, highly encourage everyone here to visit the URL at the bottom of your screen there to download the report yourself, read through some of the awesome insights and metrics that our team was able to research through these conversations with AI data and data leaders across industries again. So with that, why don't we wrap things up, Cam? What do we want to say? What do we want to leave our audience with as we look forward to 2026?
Yeah, thanks, Stan. Such an awesome report. Again, like Stan said, I encourage everybody to go read it. It's huge, has so much to take in. Those are just bullet points, but that report is totally worth the read. And if you're working in AI or in data, you've got to read it going into 2026. But let's, before looking forward to 2026, let's give a quick recap of what we talked about that went on in 2025. So the progression is clear. We started with a downloadable MCP server to learn from real usage in the market. And then that evolved and turned into Connect AI, the first managed MCP platform that now operates at a production scale. The focus throughout the year was performance, reliability, governance, and usability. And it was really about moving from possibility to maturity. So looking ahead to 2026, I think the focus only deepens. More intelligence is built on real data, more trusted control as AI becomes operational, and more ways to build real systems on top of AI. This year showed what's possible. Next year is about pushing that further. And like you said, AI success requires AI-ready data, not just AI models.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Cam, for co-hosting the Vibe Querying series with me this year. Thank you so much to our audience for being here and joining us, following along this journey with us as we try to evangelize the power of MCP and conversational analytics. Really, what you're able to do when you combine this awesome technology when it comes to LLMs and AI with access and real-time access to your enterprise data. We highly encourage everyone to, as always, join the CData community as well as the Vibe Querying subreddit to keep in touch. There's a community of practitioners out there sharing their experiments, prompts, and really awesome use cases. And so, we really encourage everyone to get involved. We want to thank everyone for being with us throughout the year. We want to wish everyone a happy holidays as we look forward to 2026. Please stay tuned for more Vibe Querying episodes coming next year. But in the meantime, we hope you stay curious and keep vibing. We'll see you in 2026.